Hello and welcome to the Album Man, and today I'm going to be reviewing Please Please Me by the Liverpudlian band the Beatles. And yes, I'm going to be starting my Beatles discography at long last, and of course with their first debut album. So this was originally released in the UK on the 22nd of March 1963, and this album really helped to pioneer the idea of a rock pop band, whatever you want to call them, playing and writing their own music. 8 of the tracks were written by Lennon and McCartney, and 6 were covers. And even though there were quite a lot of covers, the writing of tracks, it still had an impact on the musical scene at the time. Now, this album was produced by George Martin, of course, and the album has quite an interesting recording history that I'll briefly go into. The album was actually recorded in its entirety in about 12 hours, though I've heard some say sort of more 9.5, 10. There's various different sources, but certainly roughly, about a day they recorded it in, certainly. And it was pretty much recorded, I'm not quite in a straight session, but the breaks weren't exactly long, let's put it that way. And it was a difficult, tiring task, and the fact that they managed to produce an album considered by many to be such a classic in that amount of time is quite remarkable. Though I don't consider it to be one of the absolute best, it's certainly a monumental album, and I certainly do like it a lot. So let's start with, well, the first track, which is I Saw Her Standing There. And the way she looked was way beyond compare. So how could I dance with another? Oh, and I saw her standing there. And this kicks off the album with McCartney counting in 1, 2, 3, 4 in that type of sort of dull monotone voice, obviously. And I think this song has one of the strongest vocal performances on the album, and probably the strongest, in fact. Well, no, maybe not. One of them, let's put it that way, which is McCartney. And it gives the song a real power and drive, as well as the fantastic bass riff, which I've always liked. Though, I don't really give McCartney too much credit for it, because he didn't exactly write it. No, he stole it from Talking About You by Chuck Berry. When I say stole it, I literally mean note for note he stole it. He's even admitted it. He stole it note for note. But, yeah, it fits the song so perfectly. It's quite weird. I mean, the song, is a resultant because it certainly does have that old school rock and roll feel to it with a nice scream in the middle. But the main thing is just how damn catchy the song is. Great way to open the album. Then Misery. This is another Beatles original sung by John and Paul. And it's the shortest song on the album, coming in at about 1:47. I mean, damn, these are such short songs. I mean, for a modern listener, it does seem just a bit odd. I mean, how short the songs are, but round about that time, that was the thing. If you look at Elvis's stuff, a lot of those, some of my first Blue Suede Shoes, really short bloody songs. But that was just the thing. But it means that really the songs are focused on the chorus. I mean, there's no solos in Misery. Not much of a verse. What is over very quickly, but the whole song seems over too quickly, in my opinion. It has a really good solid melody to it and the potential to be a pretty awesome song. I mean, it still is a really good song. I enjoy it a lot, but it just, I think, could have been even 2.5, 3 minutes. They're never going to turn it into some 20-minute prog opus, but I think it could have done with 2.5 minutes, really. It's got a really good melody to it. Okay, and I Go to Him. This is the first cover, and as many of you will know, I don't particularly like covers, unless they differ from the original and expand on the song instead of just copying it note for note. Now, I do realise that back in the early 60s, that covers were a lot more commonplace, and pretty much every album had a lot of covers on them. That was just a way of doing things. But still, my positive point of this Beatles discography is I want to look at these albums really from a bit of a modern standpoint. How exactly they hold up today without all the rose-coloured spectacles and nostalgia vision of, exactly how impactful they were, just how they are just to listen to, really. Obviously, I have to take into account the influence of these albums, because a lot of these have been hugely influential. But that's the general theory of mine behind this discography. Anyway,
Oh, I forgot what I was saying. Yes, the original of this song is by Arthur Alexander, and is really quite a heartfelt, soulful piano ballad. And what I like about this cover, the Beatles don't use the piano, and the part played by the piano is instead played by George Harrison on lead guitar, which works incredibly effectively. And then John sings on this, and his voice fits the song really well, and he delivers a great performance. And I also love the backing harmonies by the rest. It may not revolutionise the original, but it varies it enough to keep me interested, and it's a really great track. Chains is next. That's a song by Carole King and Jeffrey Goffin, and originally released by the Cookies, only a year before the Beatles released this album, in fact. And the original is really just some female vocal harmonies over fairly nondescript music. It's okay. But, pardon me. The Beatles instead make this song a lot more musically interesting, with the guitar from Harrison, who is also the main vocalist on this song, quite interestingly. And, I mean, though the song, it's mainly vocal harmonies from all of them, to be honest. It's certainly a decent song, though I do find it to be one of the weaker on the albums. I don't particularly like the source material of the original, and I don't know if it quite fits the Beatles that well, to be honest. But the next song, Boy, is certainly redeemed.
Well, I talk about boys. Yeah, boy. Don't you know I mean boys? Yeah, boy. Well, I talk about boys now. Ah, boys.
This is yet another cover now, and this time by Luther Dixon and Wes Fowler, and originally performed by the Shirleys. I have no bloody idea how to say this band name. I'll call them the Shirleys, because that just sounds like Lord of the Rings, so that's cool. Okay, and the original, to me, it really lacks something. It feels like it could be a great rock and roll song with that bluesy classic 12-bar blues type structure, but it just lacks that real punch. And that's where the Beatles version comes in, and it delivers that punch. Though the first thing I have to say is this is the first Ringo Starr song on the album, and the only one where he sings, which is cool. I've always loved the Ringo Starr songs, weirdly. My favourite Beatles song used to be, and to an extent, certainly one of my favourites, is Yellow Submarine. When I was younger, I used to think that Ringo, to be honest, had the best voice, and his songs were the best. So I've always had a lot of respect for Ringo's singing, however limited on a technical standpoint his vocal range may be compared to titans such as John and Paul. But still, I always like it when he sings. And I think this version, anyway, it surpasses the original as the Beatles turn into a proper rock and roll jam. And yeah, I mean, even with the gay overtones that this song has, with Ringo singing about boys, yeah, but I mean, the original was sung by a woman, so you can understand the lyrics. Anyway, the solo in it by Harrison fits the song superbly. I like it quite a lot. And yeah, it's one of my favourite songs in the album. Wonderful rendition, definitely. Ask Me Why. It's another song by the Beatles. Yeah, it's by the Beatles themselves. And I think it's one of the weaker songs. I find the chorus a little stale, dare I say. I mean, I don't know. The chorus just doesn't seem to grab me and falls a little flat, really. I don't particularly care for it. Please Please Me, though, the title track, is another original, and this is far better than its predecessor. It has a great bit of guitar where the vocals stop and the guitar is just playing some chords quickly. You know, like a sort of a, Chuck Berry sort of, rock and roll type thing, but it just fits the song so well. It's really cool. And yeah, as I said, it has a really good rock and roll feel to it. Really solid beat from Ringo, just generally awesome song. Love Me Do, does it really need any introduction? It's probably the best known track on the album, and it's my second favourite from it. The chorus is like heroin. It's so addictive and catchy. It really is part of the pop formula that the Beatles seem to create, this successful formula, really. And the thing I particularly love, though, is the use of harmonica at the end of the chorus. I think it fits so well, and this song, as I said, it really showcases the thing that made the Beatles the biggest band on the planet, which is their mastery and innovation of this pop structure formula. I mean, the single best example of that has to be obviously I Want to Hold Your Hand, which I think was the single released after this album. Should have been on an album. Why the Beatles always had singles and then never put them on albums, it baffles me. It does. But, you know, that's sort of the quintessential pop song, being very short in length, very catchy, straight to the point, and has a tune you can hum to as well. And the same goes for this song, to be honest. It's a genius little song. Oh, and also this song and the next song feature Andy White on drums, and not Ringo, just as a note. And I originally said put in my notes before I found out about this, that the drumming was particularly good on this song. Yeah, Ringo's not the greatest drummer in the world, but he does, you know, he's alright, he's a solid drummer. Anyway, P.S. I Love You. This is a slower song, which musically focuses on the bass and drums, which, yeah, nice and solid. Bass especially is fantastic, though, of course, the song is mainly about the chorus, and yeah, it's certainly good. It's, again, short and sweet. Baby It's You. This is another song performed originally by the Shirleys, whatever, and written by some guys who I can't be asked naming, because I can't remember, really. Simple as. I can't say I like the original at all, and find it pretty dull throwaway pop song with weirdly high-pitched organ. So seriously, the organ solo in that song is so weird, it's so stupidly high-pitched, it's like it was made just to scare cats and dogs with, you know, like those whistle things. Anyway, I'm reviewing the Beatles, not the Shirleys, or however you say it. And the Beatles version of this song, now, it uses extensive vocal harmonies, and with Lennon singing the leads, that of course Ringo was with the last Shirley song. And I think the Beatles' vocals suit the song a lot better, especially John's voice, who is the main vocalist on the song, which sounds particularly good. Though in general, I don't find this to be that strong. I mean, it's hardly long, but I just find it, again, as I said earlier, a bit of a throwaway, ballady thing with little value. Do You Want to Know a Secret? This is a Beatles original sung by Harrison, and I really love this song. I mean, again, as I was saying before about the whole formula thing, it just follows that sort of formula they conjured up so geniusly. It's another really, really catchy song. But unfortunately, it doesn't continue into the next song, though. It's a cover, A Taste of Honey.
A taste of honey, a taste of honey, tasting much sweeter than wine.
It's a weird song. And this was made famous by Lenny Welk, whoever the hell that is, and was originally an instrumental track, seemingly on Broadway type things. And yeah, it's a great vocal performance from Paul, and I mean, I think Harrison's guitar's good, but I can't say I really have much to say about the song, except that I prefer the Beatles version to the original vocal version, and think that it's well done, but I don't know, I don't really like it, I don't particularly care for it, I don't think it's that good. There's a Place, the final song written by McCartney and Lennon, and it features more of that killer harmonica that was used in Love Me Do, and yeah, I think they should have utilised the harmonica more. I really like it, actually. And this song, yeah, it definitely has a big sound to it, and even get a slight soul, maybe even, dare I say, Motown vibe to it. And the Beatles really did save the best for anyway, and There's a Place. It's alright. It's alright. But they really did save the best till last. And even though it's a cover, this is Twist and Shout, which is originally performed by the unknown band Top Notes, but more famously done by the Isley Brothers. And the original definitely, I mean, the Top Notes one, it's a lot more soul-y, has horns and sax as the main instruments. It's weird. Doesn't sound much like it really, but okay. The Isley Brothers one sounds quite a bit though. And the Beatles they take this song and turn it into a really intense rock and roll song with Paul and John. They almost seem to have really quite gravelly vocals as they've been recording all day, of course. And it really adds to the song. I mean, John's voice especially is completely shot on this song. Shot to pieces. That's probably the most insensitive thing I could say about John Lennon. I only just realised that. That's why you should think before you say it. That was awful. That was not a joke, by the way. It was not meant to be one. Oh, that's completely thrown me now. Anyway, yeah, a great bass line, but it's the vocals and chorus that make it such a classic. The chorus especially is just so catchy, and I love the big scream by, I think it's Paul in it. A classic rock and roll song. In my opinion, the Beatles version is by far the best. Overall, this album, I mean, it's clearly a classic. That's undeniable. It did a lot for music, and it is a, it is a really good album. It's not one of their best, though. I think it took a while for them to really find their sound, and here, I mean, yes, it was recorded quite quickly. You do get a little bit of a rushed vibe off of it, not too much. You more get sort of a more of a live feeling, which was what they were trying to create from it. But yeah, they hadn't quite found it. So I'm gonna give this, and please don't hate me, but a 7.5 out of 10. It's definitely a good album, definitely worth picking it up, but I wouldn't make it your first Beatles record if you're one of the only people who doesn't have a Beatles record. But yeah, definitely a solid album. This has been the Album Man, thanks for watching, can't wait to subscribe, and as usual, long live rock and roll.